fans, welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now first off, let me just apologize about it being a day late. Memorial Day really screwed up my schedule this week, and everything coming out a day later doesn't really help the show so much. So I apologize for that. The next week's episode will be up at its usual time on Friday. Now, on to the pick of the week. From Marvel, we have Wolverine number 72, written by Mark Millar and art by Steve McNiven. Now, I'm kind of conflicted when it comes to this issue. More on the conflicted part in a second. First, let me talk about how great of a book it is. We find Logan's dead body hauled into Red Skull's trophy room. If there's one thing I like about President Red Skull's trophy room, it's all the different outfits, helmets, armor, weapons from all these fallen Avengers from that huge battle that took place all those many years ago. Well, it turns out Logan's not all that dead. He finally healed up. You know, his regenerating factor isn't on what it used to be. And he goes toe-to-toe with the Red Skull. And as soon as he gets his hand on Captain America's shield, he just tears the Red Skull a new one, bashing him back and forth. And you might wonder why Red Skull has on Captain America's outfit. It's more of a medal, if anything. He talks about how in ancient times they used to wear skins of their enemies to show, you know, how brave and rugged they were. So anyway, he says, Logan, you don't have the guts to kill me. Come on, you're a pacifist. And Logan takes Cap's shield and beheads him right then and there. And he quickly gets on Iron Man's armor, flies out of there so he can get back home in time to give the Hulk gang their money so he can live in peace with his family once again. Turns out when he gets home, the Hulk gang got bored and just killed his family just for fun. And so he finally unsheaths the claws and he's going to go at them. My conflict. It's going to end in a giant-sized spectacular issue. That's going to be like $4. I thought this was the conclusion of this series. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been having a blast with this series. But then they spring this kind of crap on me. Now I have to wait another couple of months, or Lord knows how long it's going to take McNiven to finish it, for a giant-size issue and pay $1 extra. I'm not so keen on that. So that's my only complaint. Other than that, it was a great issue. I can't wait to see the series end, and hopefully it will in the giant-size spectacular, and there won't be another bigger, gianter-size spectacular. Anyway, on to the Fast Five.
His eyes, they closed.
First up from Marvel, we have Nova number 25. Now, in this issue of Nova, we find out that the World Mine was slipped a roofie, a cosmic roofie, by Ego the Living Planet. That's why Ego has all this power, and he's been suckling off the Nova Corps power and World Mine's power, and he's basically in control. So Richard Rider has to go up against him. He dodges, he weaves, and he finally, with a little bit of help from his friends, gets to the World Mine Center and becomes Nova Prime again. And he has World Mine back in his head, and has taken a new avatar of his old pal, Correal. So that's nice because now everything's restored. Ego is lobotomized once again. And Richard Rider can now go off and help his old buddies, the Guardians of the Galaxy, in the War of Kings crossover, and maybe get some peace in the galaxy before it tears itself apart. More on the Guardians of the Galaxy in a second here. But we also get the return of Garthan Sal, who is kind of like the Sinestro of Nova, where he was once the greatest champion and now he's kind of darker. So we get the return of him as well. Abnett and Lanning have been doing such a spectacular job on this series. I cannot wait till the next one. Next up from Image, we have The Sword number 17. Now, as usual, we get the gorgeous Luna Brothers art, the story, beautifully written, and we have Dara versus Konosnos, a giant rock form of Konosnos. He throws a huge boulder at her, it skips, hits one town, skips over the border, and lands in a football stadium, killing thousands. People think this is a meteor, and then they discover the flight path and discover, holy shit, it's that Dara girl again. And she's up against a gigantic rock monster? It's on every news channel. And then at the end, we got Malia, the sister of Konosnos and Zakros, coming in to join the fight. But whose side is she really on? It's a cliffhanger after cliffhanger. They know how to do cliffhangers, and they know how to just keep me on the edge of my seat. So bravo, Luna Brothers, you've done it again, and I cannot wait till issue number 18. It's going to be fucking fantastic, I can tell you that right now. Next up from Marvel, we have Guardians of the Galaxy number 14. Now we have Adam Warlock versus Vulcan and the Shi'ar trying to reason with him. You know, that's his diplomacy. Apparently it's not really working. And then the other half of the Guardians of the Galaxy are trying to talk to the Inhumans and the Kree and trying to get peace with them. But, you know, they just can't seem to be getting on the same page here. They have their own agenda, and so do the Guardians of the Galaxy. And so it kind of gets to a bad point where they kidnap the Princess Crystal, and they take her back to their headquarters. And just as the Shi'ar, and under Vulcan's control, the Shi'ar Imperial Guard transport to their headquarters, so do the Kree. So now you have both the Kree/Inhumans and the Shi'ar on board of the Guardians of the Galaxy's headquarters. Next issue is going to be a fantastically huge clusterfuck. I can't even imagine the kind of damage that's going to be happening next issue. It's such a great issue, and I cannot wait till the next one, or the next issue of War of Kings, which is out next week. Next up, from Vertigo, we have Northlanders number 17. Now, the reason I picked this issue was not only was it a very nice little one-shot of two feuding Viking lords sending their greatest champions to combat against each other, but it's Vasilis Lolos's art. Vasilis Lolos's art is fantastic. Every page is so beautifully done, and everything from the landscaping and mountains and birds in the background to the individual figures themselves. And the reason I love this guy so much is he started on a series called Pirates of Coney Island with Rick Spears a couple of years ago, many years ago. I was enjoying this series before I even was doing this podcast, let alone getting into Comics Weekly. But anyway, it never finished. It's still in the process of finishing after many, many years later. But I just remember his art being so beautiful back then, and then I look at this issue, and it's still consistently gorgeous. So that's one of the main reasons I picked this issue. If you like Vikings, if you want a nice little one-shot for well worth your money, pick up Northlanders number 17. You will not regret it. And finally this week from Marvel, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 595. This is part 1 of the American Sun storyline, and it's written by Joe Kelly with art by Phil Jimenez. In Joe Kelly we trust. And in this issue, we focus on J. Jonah Jameson Jr., the mayor of New York City, throwing a nice little dinner party for his dear old dad and Aunt May, his soon-to-be new mother-in-law. And Harry's there, Peter's there, and no one really likes Jonah. They're all poking fun at him. And then, apparently, guess who's coming to dinner? Well, it's Stormin' Norman Osborn. And no one except Jonah Jameson Sr. likes him. Everyone's like, oh, well, look at the time, I gotta go. And he tries to tell Harry, come on, join me in Hammer. I got this great position for you. And Harry goes, please, like, as if. Well, it turns out at the end, when Spider-Man's kidnaps and beats up Norman Osborn, saying, stay away from Harry, he gets a phone call. And Harry says, Dad, I'd sure love to do it, because his old flame ex-fiancée is back into his life, and she's pregnant. All according to Norman Osborn's plan, I'm sure. But this was a great issue. Can't wait to see what Joe Kelly brings next issue. And it's that great. Well, comic book fans, that does it for Cammy's Comic Corner this week. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, go to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there you can subscribe to us on RSS feed or on iTunes. And also check under the reviews section for my little synopsis of every little title that I read this week. And you'll see why I didn't pick something, why I loved it to death, etc. Then go talk about it on the forums. Also, if you like any of the kick-ass t-shirts that you see me wearing, blackest night right around the corner, people, head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. There is one name that I trust when it comes to comic book t-shirts. That is Kelly over at www.deadlinegraphics.net. And also, big thanks to www.rsc-online.com. Rising Sun Creations is my newest sponsor, and they specialize in manga, special toys imported straight from Japan, and U.S. comic books as well. So you got the best of both worlds in one convenient location. Also check out their online store and see what they can do for you today. Again, thank you to www.rsc-online.com. Rising Sun Creations, I couldn't have done it without you. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for comics. Check out Monday for the Independent Comics episode. I'll be doing my best to highlight 3 independent comic books that you should all be checking out in the near future. So, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I've been your host, Cammy, and au revoir, as the Germans would say.